Have you ever just stopped and wondered, how did people way back when make sense of, well, everything? Not just the stars and the planets, but all of it, from a tiny grain of sand to our own thoughts and feelings. It turns out the ancient Indian system of Ayurveda has this incredibly detailed and fascinating blueprint for reality. It's called Padartha Vigyan, which basically means the science of how the universe is put together. I mean, it's the biggest question there is, right? What is all this stuff around us, and where do we fit in? Well, for Ayurveda, this isn't just some dusty old philosophical question. Nope. This is actually the essential foundation for understanding our health, our wellness, and our place in the whole cosmos. And it all begins with a really systematic way of categorizing, well, existence itself. All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the fundamental building blocks, the actual stuff of the universe. Then we'll look at the invisible forces that give it all structure, things like time and space. From there, we'll turn inward to the mind and soul, explore the universal language of qualities, and then, most importantly, we'll tie it all together to see why this ancient model is still so incredibly useful for our health today. Okay, first things first, we've got to talk about Dravya. You can think of it as the absolute cornerstone of this whole philosophy. It's actually super simple. If it exists, it's a Dravya. That's it. This is the foundation for literally everything else we're about to cover. Now, what's really important to get is that a Dravya isn't just an inert thing. In Ayurveda, a substance is defined as the thing that holds qualities and can perform actions. Think about an apple. The apple itself is the Dravya. It's the substance that holds the qualities of being sweet, red, and heavy. Without the apple itself, where would those qualities even go? They'd have nowhere to exist. And here's where it gets really cool. Ayurveda takes all of reality, everything, and splits it into just two main buckets. On one side, you have the Karana Dravyas. These are the fundamental eternal causes of the universe. And on the other side, you have the Karya Dravyas, which are all the effects, all the things that are created from those causes. And here they are, the 9 eternal causes. These are the absolute, fundamental, can't be broken down any further building blocks of everything. You've got the 5 great elements, the Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which make up all physical matter. But check this out. This is where it really diverges from a modern viewpoint. Things like the soul, Atma, the mind, Mana, and even time and direction are considered fundamental substances, not just abstract concepts. So let's put the physical elements on the back burner for a sec and zoom in on 2 of the most mind-bending ones, time and direction. Because in this system, they're not just ideas we made up. Nope. They are considered actual, real substances that literally shape the reality we all live in. So kal, or time, that's the engine of change. It's the whole reason there's a past, a present, and a future. And then there's disha, or direction. That's what gives us our sense of space. Near, far, up, down, east, west. Without these 2, reality would just be this weird static soup with no when or where. And this quote, wow, it really captures the power of call, doesn't it? It's not just a passive clock on the wall. It's seen as an active, universal force that transforms everything. For anything that's alive, its ultimate result is change, aging, and eventually death. You can't escape it because it's woven into the very fabric of existence. This table kind of lays it out perfectly. In many ways, they're super similar. They're both seen as eternal, all-pervading, and independent forces. But their jobs are different. Time is all about change, and we chop it up into seconds and hours based on movement. Direction, on the other hand, is all about location, and we figure that out based on a fixed point, usually the sun. All right, so we've got the stuff of the universe and the invisible grid it all operates on. But who's watching the show? Who is actually experiencing all this? To answer that, we have to turn our attention inward to the last 2 non-physical causes, Atma, the soul, and Man, the mind. In this framework, the Atma, or the soul, is basically pure consciousness. The best way I've heard it described is like a movie screen. The screen doesn't do anything in the movie, it doesn't act, but without it, you couldn't see the movie at all, right? The Atma is that silent witness, the background that makes all knowledge and experience possible. So how does this actually play out moment to moment? Let's say there's an apple in front of you. Your eyes see it, your nose smells it, but that's just raw data flooding in. The mind, or man, acts like a super fast data collector. It zips over to your eyes, grabs the visual info, zips to your nose, grabs the smell info, then it bundles it all up and presents it to the Atma. And bam, the Atma, the pure consciousness, lights it up. And that's the moment you have the conscious experience of, oh, I see an apple. And get this. The mind is described as being atomic, which is just a fancy way of saying it can only focus on one thing at a time. I know, it feels like we're multitasking, but according to this, we're not. The mind is just so ridiculously fast, it seems simultaneous. The classic analogy is just perfect. Imagine trying to poke a needle through a stack of 100 lotus leaves. It looks like it happens all at once, right? But of course, the needle has to go through leaf 1, then 2, then 3. That's your mind, jumping from sense to sense in the blink of an eye. Okay, so we have substances and we have the internal tech to perceive them. But how do they actually interact? What's the language they speak to each other and to us? The answer is gunas. I love this concept. You can think of gunas as the universe's operating system. It's the invisible code that describes the properties of every single thing. This operating system is built on 20 primary qualities, which are neatly organized into 10 pairs of opposites. And these are not just, philosophical ideas. These are real, tangible qualities that everything in the universe has in different combinations. And this, right here, is the absolute key to understanding health in Ayurveda. Let's take a look. First up, heavy versus light. Think about how a heavy meal of, say, lasagna makes you feel. Grounded, stable, maybe a little sleepy. That's the heavy quality building you up. Now compare that to eating a light salad or some popcorn. You feel energized, mobile. That's the light quality. It's really that simple. One builds, one reduces. Or how about cold and hot? You already know this one intuitively. You drink an icy drink on a hot day, and you can feel that constricting, cooling sensation inside. You eat a spicy chili pepper, and you feel that expansive heat. Your digestion kicks into gear, you might even sweat. You can feel these qualities working on you in real time. And let's do one more, oily versus dry. Put some lotion or oil on your skin, what happens? It gets smooth, moisturized, soft. That's the oily quality, or snigdha. Now, eat a handful of dry crackers. You can literally feel them absorbing the moisture right out of your mouth, right? That's the dry quality, or ruksha. You experience these all day long without even thinking about it. So, okay, we've gone on a pretty cosmic journey here, right? We've talked about the universe, time, the soul. But what does any of this have to do with your daily life? Well, this is where it all comes together. This is where the ancient wisdom connects these huge cosmic ideas right down to your personal health. It all boils down to this incredibly simple, elegant principle. Every single substance, the food you eat, the weather outside, the music you listen to, has a unique profile of these qualities. And when you interact with them, those qualities either increase or decrease the same qualities inside your own body. The entire goal of Ayurvedic medicine is just to use opposing qualities to bring you back to center. Health is simply a state of balance. Disease is just a state of imbalance. So you see, this whole ancient framework, it's not just theory. It's a practical tool for perception. It invites you to see the world not just as a collection of random objects, but as a dynamic dance of qualities. So I'll just leave you with this question. Once you start noticing these qualities, the heat in your morning coffee, the lightness of a good laugh, the dryness of the winter wind, how might that change the choices you make for your own well-being today?